Hi everybody, this is Heidi and you are watching Heidi Creates. Today on this episode of Heidi Creates, I'm actually taking you through more of our process of creating an aesthetically beautiful place for us to enjoy outside of our home here. We have the lower level of where we live, and we're just here during the summertime, but we want to enjoy it as much as we possibly can. And part of enjoying this space is making it more inviting, more aesthetically pleasing. I'm actually standing underneath a deck. Added some pieces of furniture. We have a jacuzzi hot tub. We have a a sauna. Is that right? It's called a sauna. We added a picnic table, but one of the things that we wanted to change was up above we have a deck, and you know, standing underneath a deck is not always a great place to be. It's kind of gross actually, and because you get things falling down on your head and get spiders making webs up there. And anyway, we wanted to create something that was just a little bit warmer and inviting, just to get some little business done. Anytime while you're watching, if you'll give me a thumbs up, that would be awesome. Also, be sure to subscribe, and if you don't know about that little bell that's right next to the subscribe button, if you click on that, that will ensure that you can see any future videos that I post here on YouTube. So here we go. The lower level of our house is right here. This is the walkout for the basement, and up above is the deck for the upper level. And this is a really nice area. It has really nice patio stones, got the picnic table. The only issue that we have with this area is if we want to use it when it's raining, we can't because we get rained on. So we are wanting to put basically an awning on the underside, a waterproof fabric that is stretched. You can see the wires. We have those strung up already. We put turnbuckles on these wires, and that is a turnbuckle. If you've never used them before, you use those to tighten your wires up. They're actually going to be fairly permanent. We're not planning on moving them. We're not going to be sliding them closed or open. They're just going to stay open all the time. What we do now is do the finished ends on each of the panels before we sew the panels together. Instead of doing a hem on the ends, I'm actually going to be doing binding strips on the ends, because here's the thing: when the water is running down the fabric towards the lake end, if the fabric is rolled up into a hem, it's going to catch the water. Because we have 4 panels, each panel has 2 ends to it, obviously. I'm going to cut 8 strips that are the width of the fabric by the 3 inches. What I'm going to do first is I have my 3-inch wide strips here, and I have each of my panels cut at 4-yard lengths. I want my binding to end, or to be on the pretty side. So I'm going to go ahead using the 1/2-inch seam allowance. I'm going to sew this binding onto the wrong side of the fabric panel. I have the binding sewn on, did the 1/2-inch seam allowance. This is the wrong side of the fabric. So what's going to happen now is I'm going to turn this binding to the inside. First of all, you can see this is where it's joined together. That's the seam. And that's where it's going to get folded, is right on that seam. And so this would be the side the water is running on, and as you can tell, there's nothing to stop the water flow. But it'll have a nice finished look from the right side. I'm going to go ahead and flip that around and sew pretty close to the edge. And I'm going to do it in a larger stitch length just because I don't want to tighten the fabric up that much. For each panel where we join them together, we are creating a 2-inch pocket for the wire and turnbuckle to fit through. And so each edge gets turned under a 1/2 inch, and you can see that there's a 1/2 inch there. And then we overlap the edges by 2 inches. With this particular pocket, we needed it to be 3 inches wide. So to do the overlap, what I did was I measured from the raw edge of this panel. I measured it out so that it would, and made a line that is a 1/2 inch short of my seam allowance. Lay that second panel down right on that line. And then I have my magnet bar set up over here, and I added a 1/2 inch so that when I'm running my fabric along that edge, it's adding a 1/2 inch seam allowance right there. Makes it pretty easy then to do this seam. So this is the first seam of this pocket, and you can see the 1/2 inch seam allowance right here. And so all I need to do is just bring this flap over here, fold this under a 1/2 inch, which I'm just going to eyeball it because all I have to do is just pull that over against that other seam and lay it flat, and then sew close to the edge. We're doing a test fitting. We got the 4 panels sewn together, which ended up being 3 pockets, and you can kind of see that. So what we decided to do before we do the final pockets, which are on the very outside ends, is to clip them up there with clothespins so we know just exactly how much to take off. Now if you look at this end, this corner of the deck, the corner was chopped off on the deck. So that means, I look at it from this angle, one cable is shorter than all the rest. So we're going to have to cut or angle this panel of fabric on this end just to fit the diagonal here. I love the feel of this.
I do too.
It just, whoa, don't fall off the edge of the steps here. It just really gives a cozy, just a cute feeling. I love it. It adds warmth, and it just feels less like we're underneath a deck.
Yeah.
Just looks like a really nice patio area. It's all about just making this, we're homey down here. And so it's a space that we'll use more and enjoy it, because we do like to use the jacuzzi, the hot tub, and the hammock chair, and enjoy the view of the lake from down here. So yeah. This is going to be awesome. All right, so now we just need to figure out how much to take off from each end. But we can tighten the turnbuckles a little bit more too.
Oh yeah, and again, that's why I want to have grommets here, so I can stretch them this way,
right,
as well as we're stretching it the other way.
Right, it'll hold it in place better.
Yeah, it's not as tight there, so we can just kind of give it a little more here. Because the other thing is, it's not necessarily straight.
You mean the cable?
Right, so...
Because don't you dare critique my fabric cutting skills.
Just if you want more sag toward the lake side, you could actually cut it slightly, but I think what happens...
Maybe we should call it droop. I don't know.
Sag, droop, whatever. Whatever term suits your fancy.
So I'll get my little handy dandy ruler, and we'll just kind of figure out how much. I mean, obviously this one, don't even necessarily have to trim it. I can fold it and then fold it again.
Oh.
But it just depends on how much is there. It has, excess.
With that roller cutter thing, it would be pretty easy.
Oh, says you, it's like 4 yards of length. Oh my God. If you want precision. Okay, well, this has such a cool, I don't know, like you're inside of a tent.
Yeah, I gotta invite Pam down here.
This is, well, shouldn't we finish it? I mean, it won't take that long to do those 2 end ones. Put it back up and then she can see it done. We're gonna put grommets and then tie them off, the corners off, so that it stays where we want it. And then also the center one right here on both ends, we will also put a grommet. And the grommets you won't even see because we're going to put them in on the deck side, on the top side, so we won't even see those.
Here we may want to give it a little extra
droop,
so that it droops more as you get toward the lake side, just to make sure it's got a good slope.
Okay.
I mean, they can be pretty straight up there at that end, as long as they.
Well, you did do a drop with the cables, right? How much of a drop did you do?
4 inches.
4 inches, and that's the length.
4 yards.
4 yards of length. Over 4 yards, which is 12 feet, did a 4-inch drop.
But we can actually create a bigger drop for water by making it more slack.
Slack down there and tighter up here. Yeah. Yeah. Basically, I just took a length of wire, went through the grommet, and over the S-hook. That's just going to keep that fabric in place so it doesn't get blown around by the wind willy-nilly.
Let it stretch it too. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, we've got our, I don't even know what to call it. It's kind of like an awning. It's a covering, but we're under a deck, so I don't know if there's even a technical word for it, but we're calling it an awning. For a 10-proof an awning. So we've got it done, and we're really happy with it. We're actually talking about extending it even further under the deck area, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. We are done with our awning, and so I'm just going to give you a view here what it looks like from the side. Because we're looking out from a shaded area, it's really difficult to get a real true feeling for the color of it because it's kind of dark.
Yeah, you get the bright light in the background.
Yeah, I have the bright light.
Turn the other way and see.
Well, it's still a mess over there. I don't want to be able to see the mess. So anyway, this is our awning, which I really like it. We still have things that we have to store outside in the summertime when we want to have our space. We've got exercise equipment we've made coverings for, so that's what those two big fabric things are over there in the background. And that's our sauna there. But this is our awning, and this, most of the time when you see these things, they're mostly made to create shade in a very sunny area, and shade is not the issue here. We're doing more for aesthetics, and then also we're doing for rain. So, and we made it, so it's higher at that end, and then this end it comes down a few inches and will just drain right out here onto the grassy area. So we're hoping this works out. It sure looks nice anyway. I sure like the way it looks, and I like the fact that it doesn't look like we're standing under a deck anymore. And now that we got it done, we're thinking we're gonna have to extend it down all the way past the sauna right there, or the jacuzzi.
Yeah.
So we got the hot tub there and hammock chair. I love that place. That chair is like my happy spot, and having more of a covering here would also just make it more usable. And everything, you know, we have this nice patio brick, so we have a place where we can actually, you know, walk barefoot and not have to worry about yuck because we're keeping it covered. So that's our new awning, and I like how it moves in the breeze. It looks pretty. So that was our little project for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. We sure had fun making this. It was a great project to do, and it certainly has made our living space outside here a lot more enjoyable. If you don't know, I do put out a video every single week, and it comes out on Friday, same time, same day, 6 o'clock in the evening. And yeah, so have a great week, and hopefully we'll see you here again next week. Stay well, stay happy, and have a great one. Bye.